than 8th grade channel. I'm Aishwarya, and in our class today, we are going to be looking at the chapter from geography, that is industries. And we are going to look at this whole chapter in the next 1 hour. So today our class is going to be a one-shot class where we will cover the whole chapter. So I hope all of you are excited for today's class, and I hope you have your notebooks and pens ready with you. Or if not, what I would also suggest is that have your textbooks open with you so that you can make a note of all the important pointers. Yes, so I can see that a lot of you are here already. So good evening, Vaishnavi, Gungun. I can see Mohammed Sharif is here. Hello, Bhavika. Hello, Shreya. Yes, hello, Gitismita. That's such an interesting name. Okay, hello Harsimran. I can see Darshan is here. Cute Princess is there. Lots of you are here already, and a lot of you are asking me, ma'am, is it Menti? No, it's not Menti. It's going to be a social science geography class where we are going to be studying. So this right here is going to be a theory class for all my wonderful 8th graders. Yes, so please make sure that you quickly like this video, and please make sure that you do not forget to subscribe to our channel, because as you know, Byju's 6th, 7th and 8th grade channel has always got you covered. And very quickly everybody, I hope my audio, my video and my screen and what I've been writing on the screen is visible to all of you. Yes, if it is, please do give me a quick thumbs up. Yes, a lot of you are asking me, ma'am, what about Ante result? See, for Ante results, of course, the Akash team will be communicating to all of you regarding this, so don't worry, right? I can see a lot of you are saying, ma'am, I have qualified, what are the next steps? Don't worry, the team will reach out to you, so don't worry, okay? Ma'am, industries, yes, industries is a very long chapter, right? Which is why we are going to be doing it a little fast paced. I'm going to be a little fast with it, and it's actually a very easy chapter also, right? Yes, how many of you have read this chapter already? How many of you have read the chapter industries? What topic are we learning? We are learning the topic industries. How many chapters have, how many of you have read this session? Yes, a lot of you are saying, ma'am, me. It's very easy, no? This is very simple and easy, right? This is an easy chapter. And all you need to do is make a flowchart out of it, and trust me, this is very simple. Like, you don't even need me to teach you. It's that easy, okay? Yes, okay. Now, a lot of you are asking me about, ma'am, reaching the age of adolescence. We'll be doing that next week, okay? Next week, we'll be doing it. Yes, Nishant, yes. Ma'am, I did not see the result. I will see it after the session. Okay, very good. Yes, it's going to come in my UT. Then it will definitely be helpful for all of you. So very quickly, everybody, please make sure that you like the video. I can see good number of students, very few likes. So please make sure that you quickly like this video and you share this with your friends and you subscribe to the channel. Do not forget to do it, okay? Yes, okay. Very good, Santwana. Hello. Date, ma'am, chapter. Are you asking which date am I going to do reaching the age of adolescence? Is that what you are asking me, Sheetal? Yes? Is that what you are asking me? Ma'am, when is grade 6 class? Grade 6 class will be there soon. Okay, very soon. Now, for how many of you is reaching the age of adolescence coming in your unit test? Before I get started with this, right? How many of you have reaching the age of adolescence for your unit test exams? Okay. Ma'am, will you teach that? I will be teaching that chapter. Reaching the age of adolescence is something I will be teaching. No, it's not there, ma'am, me, okay? I can see a lot of mixed, this one. So I'll do one thing for 7th grade also. A lot of you are asking me to teach transportation, and I'm teaching transportation. So similarly, we'll have a poll on the community, and then you can quickly let us know that if it's very high priority, then I'll teach it as soon as possible, okay? So right now it's scheduled tentatively, but I'll try to teach it at the earliest. I don't remember the date, to be honest, but I know it's sometime next week, okay? Yes, coming back, let's not digress to biology, okay? Biology for the biology class. Now we're doing geography, so geography class, okay? Everyone focus. We are going to be teaching, or we are going to be looking at the session chapter industries. So before we get started, everybody, please make sure that you do not forget to subscribe to the channel. It's very important because we want to hit a target of 50,000 subscribers. So let's not forget to subscribe or hit that button, okay? Yes. So now before we get to industries, right, and before I tell you what are industries, why we need to have manufacturing industries, what are the different types of industries that are there, this is very important, right? So as you know, when we talk about certain products that we use, right, on a day-to-day basis, we use things like paper, right? And we know paper is very important because we have, books which are printed out of paper. We know that, we need paper to write in, we need our notebooks, right? Or we know that there are some food items that we eat, right? For example, we drink tea, or sometimes we also have some things which are available in the canned form, right? We have canned juices. Now, the question here is, are everything, these things that you see on your screen, right, are these things readily available? Do we get paper growing in a tree that I can pluck the paper and I can write? Can I do that? Yes? Can I pluck paper out of a tree and write? Or can I just go pluck some, maybe some tea? I can see that there is tea powder on the floor. I'll just take some tea powder and make it out of it. No, right? It's not possible. Yes? But as we know that there are some raw materials, right? So we see that there are some raw materials from which we get these products. So there are some raw materials. It goes to, the industries, and then we get our daily products. Yes? So in this case, whether it's paper, whether it's canned juice, whether it's tea, we know that there is some input, and we know that it goes someplace where it will get processed, and then there is the output, which is the final product, right? So this is simply what we call as we are manufacturing the paper, or I am manufacturing tea powder, right? So what do we mean by the word manufacturing? Now, manufacturing, as we know, is the production of goods, or you can say, when I say goods, it's nothing but production of products, right? You can use any term, whichever is easy. Yes, so production of goods in large quantities, okay? We are not talking about producing 5 papers or 10 papers or 15 papers. I am talking about a large magnitude where we are talking about tens and thousands of it produced, right? So we're talking about it being produced at large quantities from certain raw materials to get more valuable products, that is of holding more value. So this is what we mean by manufacturing. Now, very quickly, is manufacturing a primary activity or is it a secondary activity? Yes, we have learned about how we have primary, secondary and tertiary activities, right? Is manufacturing a primary activity or secondary activity? Yes. Ma'am, if it is low quality, is it manufacturing? See, mainly when we talk about it, we are talking about the production, right? So quality, of course, matters, but low quality, high output, if you are doing that, you are still manufacturing a low quality product, right? Yes, very good. It is a secondary activity, right? So we know that secondary activities are those wherein we convert raw materials into products that are of value, right? So if the product holds value to the person, then we know that this activity is a primary activity. And Nandini, I am glad that this helped you, the channel helped you, so I hope that you have subscribed to the channel. Yes? Okay. So now we have understood what is manufacturing. No, very simple and easy. Now let's understand what is an industry. Okay. So an industry refers to and this definition is important, everybody. It's there in your textbook. So please make sure that all of you make a note of it and put a star mark in your textbook. Very simple and easy. Okay. So an industry refers to an economic activity that is concerned with the production of goods, extraction of minerals and provision of services. So what do I mean by this? It means that when I say I have a manufacturing industry, I know what manufacturing is now. But if I base off maybe a factory, or I base off a industry wherein I'm able to not only produce the goods, I am able to procure my raw materials, I am able to sell it to people, I am giving them some service, right? Then I have a manufacturing activity, or I have a manufacturing industry, right? So this is what we mean by it. Now, if you've understood these two terms, the remaining chapter becomes very easy. And in this chapter, we learn about what are the different types of industries, where are we finding these industries, on which all regions do we find, and what are the distribution, and of course, some industrial disasters, okay? So these are the things that we are going to be looking at today. So let's start with classification of industries, yes? Now, when we talk about classifying industry, we know what is an industry. It's an economic activity where we are producing goods, and of course we are, making sure we're extracting some minerals, and of course enabling some services, right? Now, there are various ways in which you can classify it. You can classify it based on what raw material you are using, or based on who is owning that industry, or based on the size, the magnitude in which you are, manufacturing it. Is it at a small scale, large scale, or at a very, very small scale, which we call as cottage industries, right? So when you are studying classification, please make sure that you make a table or you make a flow chart to study this. This way of studying becomes very, very easy. Okay, this is very important. So let's get started with how we can classify industries based on raw material. Now, based on raw material, as you see, there are 4 ways in which you can classify it. So you have agro-based industry, mineral-based industry, animal-based industry, or like you have told me, marine-based industry. And then of course we have forest-based industry, right? Now, if you look at it with the name only, agro-based, mineral-based, marine-based, forest-based, you know what are the raw materials that are used, right? Very simple and easy. Yes? Based on this, you will be able to get to know what is what. That means all you need to do is make sure and remember these names, and the rest of it becomes, what do you say? It's very simple. Yes? So that's how you need to learn also. Okay? You will have a lot of information, but all you need to do is to break it down and study it. Know how to study it. Yes? Okay. So now as we talk about agro-based industries, like all of you are telling me, industries which process agricultural produce, or they use plant-based and animal-based products as raw materials, right? And they use this to manufacture goods. So broadly, if you think about it, your cotton industry, the textile industry that is there, dairy products that are there, they all come under this, right? And we know that these are some of the examples that are there. So mainly whatever products you get from agriculture, which could be both plants as well as animal based, that forms the basis of your agro based industry, right? Ma'am, dairy products also? Yes, dairy products also, right? Normally what happens is that, because at the end of the day, when you talk about dairy, right, that is nothing but it comes under your cattle farming, right? And where do you practice cattle farming is a part of your animal husbandry. And if it's part of your animal husbandry, then it is part of your agriculture. That means that it is there. Yes? Leather. See, shoes which are made of leather. Again, now of course we have synthetic leather that is there, right? So mainly it will not technically come in agro-based, because if it is synthetically made, right? Because now we know that normally we don't get leather from animals anymore or from the hide. But if it's made of synthetic leather, then mainly it will come there, right? Forest, I will tell you. Okay, I will tell you about forest in just a bit. Now let's move on to the next one, which is based on minerals, right? So when it is about minerals, we use mineral ores here, okay? So now we've learned about what are ores, right? We know that it's nothing but, minerals are nothing but a homogeneous mixture. So minerals are a mixture of, certain minerals, certain elements that are there. And because it forms a mixture, we normally call it as a ore, right? And here mainly, if you think about it, we use iron, and from iron we get steel, right? So your iron industry, especially iron and iron ores that are there, are primarily used for making heavy machinery. So if you want to build into manufacturing, right? So we know that heavy machinery, building material, railway coaches, all of this is what we get from the mineral industry. So this actually forms a lot of bases of the things that we use. Yes, very good. Copper also is there. Railway work, very good. Yes, very good. So now moving on to the next one, which is marine-based industry, like how Darshan is telling me. My marine-based industry is the products, right? So products we get from sea and ocean. Very good. So mainly the ones that we get from sea and ocean, they form the raw material, which means seafood is one thing, fish oil is another thing, right? So these are some examples that are there. Now, apart from that, if you think about it, even things like pearls, right? All those are things that we get from marine-based industries, right? Yes, all right. Now, again, this right here again is going to be very, very important. Now, moving on to the next one, which is forest-based industries, right? So now when we talk about forest-based industries, we know that wood. Some of you are asking me, ma'am, then what is the difference between agro-based and forest-based? So agro is with agriculture. But when we talk about forest-based products, it is with respect to wood, with respect to wood pulp that we get, right? Plant extracts which we normally find growing in forests. So some of the medicinal plants that are there which are found in forests, this is something that we find here, right? Now paper, pharmaceutical industries and all of them come under this. Yes? Very good, Darshan. Ma'am, petrochemical units. Will it come in mineral based only? So this is a very interesting question, because if you think about petrochemical units, right? If you think of where we get our raw material, that they are mainly oil drills that are normally found where in the water. So that I'll get back to you, Harsimran, because honestly I don't know the answer to that. But can I get back to you on this? Because I'm not able to place it right now in my head. So I will get back to you on this, okay? I'll maybe drop a comment in this video itself and you'll be able to get the answer to it. Yes? Hello Adya, hello. Okay? So now are we clear with the 4 types of industries? Are we clear? Yes? Very quickly everybody, are we clear with the differences? Now mainly, right? If you think about it, you will know, right? The differences that are there. Yes, all right, very good. Now we will move on to the next part, which is based on ownership. That means who owns who, right? So based on that, we see that industries can be public sector industries, we can have private sector industries, we have joint sector industries, then we have cooperative sector industries, okay? So this is one thing that is there. Now, ownership is slightly a tricky thing to understand, all right? So just give me a moment. Yeah. Yes, so ownership is something that you need to understand, okay? All right, now a lot of conversation is happening on Anthe, everybody. See, let's stay focused on class. I can see Ishika, you want to know about the Anthe. Scorecard is not there, only rank is there. If you want the scorecard, reach out to the Akash Center. You will be able to get the result, all right? Like how Gungun is telling you. Secondly, for those of you who have just joined the class, please make sure that you like this video and do not forget to subscribe, okay? Yes. Now coming back to understanding this, right? So when we talk about industry based on ownership, now when we talk about public sector, and this is something that they'll ask you, okay, differentiate between public sector and private sector, or they can ask you any combination, private and cooperative, private and joint, they can ask you any combination of what is what. Now public sector, as the name suggests, is one which is owned and that is operated by the government, okay? So if it is owned and operated by the government, then we know that it is a public sector. So all this, HAL that is there, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. Then of course you also have, the Steel Authority of India, all of these things that are there. Yes, Bharat Heavy Electrical, BHEL, what you see on your screen. All of these are of course owned by the government. While on the other hand, when we talk about private sector, we see that it is owned by a certain individual or a group of individual or a firm, right? So if I have my own company, right, and if I own it, then it's a private sector company, right? Or they are private industries, yes? So are we clear with the difference between public and private? Yes, very good, very good. So in your textbook also the definition is given very beautifully. All you need to do is to make a note of it and put a star mark next to it, okay? Yes. Now moving on to the next two which are slightly tricky, okay? That is joint sector that is there and cooperative sector. Now public and private, as the name suggests, one is public, that means government, private means individual. Okay, very simple and easy, right? Now, what is the joint sector that is there? Ma'am, in public sector, who makes the investment? It's invested by the government, right? Because at the end of the day, it is owned and operated by it. So the government will be the one who makes that investment that is there, right? Yes. So now moving on to joint sector. Now, when we talk about joint sector, we see that this is something which is operated by the state, or it could be some public sector agencies, okay? But mainly here when we talk about the government, we're talking about the state government that is there along with some private groups, okay? So this is both. So joint means joint of public and private, right? So here it is owned by state as well as a group of individual. Are we clear with this? Public means government. Private means individuals. If they come together, then it is joint. Very simple and easy. Then we have cooperative sectors. Now, cooperative sector is a little tricky to understand, but Amul is the best example to always remember. Because if you think about the story of Amul, right, it is when you have some suppliers, right? So, we see that there are some producers, we have producers, or we also call them as suppliers of raw material, right? And when they all come together and they work for a unit, this industry is called as a cooperative sector. So when you think about how Amul was formed, right? Amul brought in all the dairy farmers. So everybody who are all cattle farmers and who all had cows, right? It brought all these people together to form a cooperation, right? Wherein they would all come together and they would pour in their milk, and eventually they would make, the milk, and they would sell it to everybody, right? So in a cooperative sector, yes, producers of the raw materials or workers are involved, right? Yes, that's why in the case of Amul, many dairy farmers are there which are joined, right? And the story of Amul is very, very interesting. So if you guys get the time, do definitely read up on the story of Amul. Understanding cooperative sectors become very easy. Now even the sugarcane industry that is there, right? So when you talk about sugarcane industry, the sugarcane industry is also an example of a cooperative sector. Okay, this is another example. Yes, Sudha Dairy is also another example. Very good. Nandini Milk. Yes, very good. So are we clear on the difference? Because sometimes in your exam they will ask you, ma'am, differentiate between cooperative sector and public sector, or joint sector and private sector. So you must be able to write, and it will not come for more than 2 marks, okay? Because one you have to write definition and one you have to write example. If you are able to write these two things, win-win, your marks are there, okay? Very good. So now we'll move on to the third basis of categorizing it, that is cottage based on size. How big is the industry? So we saw on raw materials, and now we have also seen based on, who's owning it, right? Based on ownership. Now let us understand this based on size. Now based on size, we have cottage, small scale and large scale, okay? So what do we mean by cottage industries? Cottage industries are the smallest, okay, wherein we see that it's normally carried out at home, or it's carried out by a community, right? And we see that these products are manufactured manually. So a lot of hand looms that are there, or normally when you go on a tourist visit to maybe a town or a village, we see that there will be a lot of souvenirs that they will be selling, no? Wherein you see that sometimes there will be, like they say, handicrafts of a certain place, right? Pottery, tailoring, all these things that are there are something which we call as cottage industry. Very small. So think of village and them doing it, like hand looms or crafts that are there which are available. Yes, they use locally. Very good, very good. They use locally available raw materials, right? So they are not doing this for having one big factory. They're just doing it because they are equipped. They are artisans who are there, right? And again, we see that very less investment. They don't invest a lot of money into it, okay? So that is what we mean by a cottage industry. Yes, very good. That is the next part, Darshan. That is the next part. Now moving on to based on size, right? Now based on size, again, we have small scale. Now in small scale industries, we don't see that there is some amount of investment and some amount of money which is invested into it, but it's not much, okay? It is relatively less, right? So relatively less, a little amount of money is invested into it. Then we also see that there are a few workers who are employed, right? So there are some people who are employed into this. And again, very less technology, very simple machinery which is used for this. So we see that all these rice mills that are there. I'm sure a lot of you would have seen rice mills, right? We see that where they make rice flour out of it. So we see rice mills that are there. We have silk weaving and so on and so forth, right? So this is what we mean by small scale. And large scale, as the name suggests, it means that lot of money is invested, large amount of people are employed, lots of fancy technology implemented, and large scale production, okay? Large scale production that is there. So we have iron and steel, automobile, heavy tools, all of this which comes under this. Ma'am, what is cotton industry? Cotton industry is a textile industry that is there, which we will learn more about in the later scale, right? Harsimran, you were asking me, ma'am, is basket making also in cottage industry? Yes, it is. It is. Okay. Personal, oh, okay, see, let's not divert the conversation, Mantasha, from what we are studying. So maybe let's keep it towards the end, okay? Towards the end of today's class, you can ask me whatever it is. Ravi Raj, I hope I've answered your question. Cotton industry, we are going to learn. It's part of the textile industry, right? And how it is, again, obtained from cotton. That is part of the agro-based industry, which we will learn more about it. Small scale industry works on a minimum scale of production. Yes, they do. That is correct. Yes? So are we clear, everybody? Are we clear with this? If so, give me a quick thumbs up, bachas, on the chat. This is very simple, no? Now when you think about it, it's so easy. Big paragraphs in the textbook only to know that everything was so easy, right? So with geography especially, I will tell you, there are of course a lot of questions that we do have, but don't ever get worried about how big the chapters are, okay? It's all about knowing. It's kind of like you're making yourself aware, right? Yes. Yes, Mantasha, I will be doing that. Don't worry, okay? Now here's a quick question from your textbook where they will ask you, right? I think this is a question that you have. What is meant by the term industry, okay? So normally what they will tell you is that you have to define industries, and sometimes they may ask you an expansion, right? That is classification of industries. So how will you define industries? Can you tell me very quickly? Case studies are there. Yes, there are case studies in it, and it's based on it also. Yes, all right, everyone, quickly. Yes. Industry is an economic activity. Very good. After so long, only Shreya answered, everyone. Industry is an economic activity, right? Which is concerned with production of goods, extraction of minerals, or the provision of services. Very good, Ulma. Very good. And if they ask you to classify, then you can classify this as well, where you can write about that industries can be classified based on raw materials, ownership, and size. Okay? Yes, very good. No Mentimeter today, only one shot. Okay. Yes, so remember that this definition is important and they can ask you. History class is already done, Yuvraj. So mainly for 8th grade, Ankita ma'am will be teaching you history, and she will also be looking into your political science, and I will be helping you out with geography. Okay? Yes, and wherever possible, I will keep coming up with some interesting classes. Of course, bio, so you know I'm there. So yes. Now we'll move on to the next part, which is on location of industries, right? Now, in order to understand location of industries, it is not that, if I want to have an industry, okay, let's imagine that I want to have a steel producing industry, right? So I want to make one steel industry. And what name shall we give my steel industry? You give me a name. What should I call my steel industry? Yes? No problem, no problem. You can come back and watch it. So I am opening my steel industry and I want a name for my industry or my, factory that I'm going to have. What shall we call it? A Steel, okay? Yes. What else? Papa Steel. Baiju Steel Industry. Okay. Likos. Okay. Yes. Ganga Steel Industry. Okay. I'm getting a lot of interesting ones. Assurance Steel Industry. Fine. Aishwarya Productions. Oh, sounds very fancy. Ganga. I like. Okay, let's go with Ganga Industry only. I am calling mine Ganga Steel Industry. Okay. So I'm going to call this as Ganga Steel Industries. I don't know if an industry like this even exists, but I'm just telling that, assuming that nothing like that is there, I'm going to go with this, right? So we have Ganga Steel Industries, and I have decided that, okay, time to make my own industry. Now, I am from Bangalore, right? I live in Bangalore and in Bangalore here. Now, does this mean that, yes, I have decided I will open one industry right next to my house? Does that mean that I can do this? Can I do that? I will just open one industry near my house only. Can I do this? No. Ma'am, make it where raw materials are easily available. Yes. So see, it is not that one day I wake up and decide to own an industry. If I want a private industry, doesn't mean that I will not be able to do it. Okay. It's not that I can just decide that, oh, this land I have, I will just grow here. Lot of factors are there. Very good. So what factors should I check for? right? So all these factors that you see on your screen are very important. Starting with raw materials. So if I want steel, I need iron, I need iron ore, I need a lot of other things, no? And iron ore and all I'll not get in Bangalore. I need to source it from somewhere, right? And of course, at the end of the day, if I need to source it from a far off place, I will end up spending a lot of money. So I must be also able to find a lot of places where raw materials are easily available. Then I need people, right? Not like alone I will do everything. I need some people also to help me out with it. Then I need money. At the end of the day, if I'm going to make people work for me, I should also pay them salary. No, that means I should have money. I should have some amount of money, that or what we call as capital, to invest in it. Yes, then I need power. Power means, is it this power? Does this mean this power where I am muscular and strong? Does this mean by power? Is this what we understand as power? Being muscular and all that? No, no. Yes. Exactly. We're talking about what power? What power are we talking about? Yes, electricity or facilities. Yes, exactly. We need electrical power or whatever. Even if I want to say, oh, I'm going to be, I will use solar power or whatever, I must be able to have that, right? It's not that I just decide to have it out of nowhere. This also needs to be there, right? Now, at the same time, I need to have a market. Now, what do I mean by market? Does this mean that I need to have a supermarket in my name also to have an industry? Does this mean that I should have a supermarket in my name? What do we mean by this word market? Can you tell me? Yeah, I'm very weak. To be honest, I take a lot of time to even open it, right? No, market for selling goods. Exactly. Everybody's laughing like, what is wrong with Aishwarya? But yeah, exactly. After all this, I do all these fancy things and I'm making, steel. Okay, let's say that from my steel industry, I made, steel spoons. What if I don't have a market where I'm selling steel spoon, right? I should be able to go where there is demand, right? Yes, I should have demand. And there should be government policies. Now, what do I mean by government policies? What do I mean by this? What is this government policy? Does this mean that now I should also be part of the parliament? I should be maybe an MLA or a minister, and only then I'll be able to have my industry. What do I mean by government policy? What do I mean by that? Think about it. No, I don't need to be a minister. I can still own an industry, that means. Yes, exactly. Subsidies, right? Government permissions, okay. Yes, all right. So now normally if you see, right, in certain rural areas or in areas which are of course closer. So if you think about it, mainly wherever I get my raw materials, which is my point number one, if I am able to set up an industry, I'm also helping that area grow, right? Because I will employ people from that area. And of course, the government will be involved in providing with me with some transport, right? So they will provide me with some transport. It can give me some subsidized power. Right, so subsidized power, I think the spelling is wrong, guys. But when I talk about subsidized power, that means that they will be like, okay, you are doing all this for us, so we can give you some concession here and there, right? So that is what we mean by it. Yes, exactly. Following other policies like it should be far away from residential areas, must be in accordance with government policies also. So there are many things which come under government policy, right? And another factor that is important when it comes to location is that climate also plays a factor, right? So if a place has extreme climate, imagine if I want to set up Ganga Steel Industries in the desert. Very nice place. Shall I make sure I go ahead and I set it up in the desert? Shall I go ahead and set it up in the desert? Will it be possible? No, right? What's the use? All this I do and no way. The climate is agreeing to me. Extreme conditions are there. Not very high. Exactly. Yes. So as we know, the climate is also a very important factor when it comes to industrial location, right? And at the same time, when we talk about transport of raw materials, right? And along with this, we also know that there is transport of finished goods, right? So these are things you need to remember. Exactly. Yes. So you need to make sure that it's near source to save heavy transport cost. Very good, exactly. And it also needs to be in an accessible place, right? Imagine if I go put my industry in the middle of the jungle. Now all this is not possible, no? Yes. So you need favorable conditions. And yes, Karnataka climate is very ideal, especially Bangalore climate. Bangalore climate does not gives you very little motivation to wake up in the morning also. You just feel like sleeping in at all times. Okay, we are clear with what are the factors that play a key role in industrial location, right? Are we clear? Are we clear with this? Ma'am, is highway also a factor? See, mainly when you think about it, highway in the sense connectivity is a factor. Whether it's highway or normal road or whatever, connectivity is the main factor. Okay? Yes. Ma'am, no. Mrinal, just rewind and read this part, you'll be able to understand. Okay? It's very easy. Now coming to understanding what an industrial system is made of. Now you know that what an industry is, right? Now you know that what are the factors you need to set up an industry. Now if I have decided to set up my Ganga Steel industry, what should my industrial system be made up of? My industrial system especially will have input, okay? So we see that there will be some inputs. So let me make a box. So there will be inputs. Then there will be some set processes which will be implemented, and then there will be output. Okay, so this is what we mean by this, right? So we have input, output, we have input, processes and output. Now what are inputs, what are processes and what are outputs? You just need to know what is one by one under each of it. So in this case, when you think about it, right? So let me go back to my pen. What are my inputs for Ganga Steel industry? You tell me. It is there on screen, but you tell me. Nidhi is new here. Hello Nidhi. Welcome to my class. I'm Aishwarya. Mainly teach you biology in the channel, but I also help you out with SST. So quickly, bacha, make sure that you subscribe to our channel, right? Yes. Inputs are steel, labor, water. Steel, if you tell, that is specific to steel industry. But very good, because we're talking about my Ganga Steel industry. Yes, correct, right? So here we are talking about raw materials. But at the same time, bacha, Anbu Selvi, let me tell you that steel will not be the input, right? Steel will be your output. But iron ore, metals, all of them are going to be your inputs, right? So input, people who work for you, laborers, all my, people, my janta who's going to be working on, the furnace and everything. Pesa, cost of my land, right? Transport, power, and the basic infrastructure of my industry. That is what I need, right? These are the basics I need to start having a steel industry. Yes? Now, once I have everything ready with me, I need to have my process. So that means that my process of smelting, getting all the ores to melt and build it together, that is what we mean by this, right? So the process in which wide range of activities that convert raw material into finished product include your processes. Then what is your output? Output is basically your end product. At the end of what am I making in my Ganga Steel industry? I'm making steel spoons, right? So basically the output is the end product, right? Yes, steel is the output and the money I get from it. Yes. So in this case, when you look at textile industry, input might be common. It could be the cotton, the human labor, factory, transport, and the processes will include all the ginning, weaving, dyeing, printing that is there, and the output is the shirt that you wear. Okay. So are we clear with an industrial system? What will be there? It differs from a steel producing industry to textile industry. It differs. But are we clear with how there are some inputs? There is steel. There are processes. And then at the end of the day, we have output. So when you are writing this class, when you're writing this point, write it down in this way. What is input? Input mainly includes your raw materials. It includes your power. It includes infrastructure. It includes land. All the things that we discussed about. Then you write process, okay? So processes, you can give an example. So for textile industry, it will be so and so. And then of course for steel industry, it will be so and so. And then what is your output, right? So the finished product and the money you earn is the output. Write it this way, it becomes very simple and easy, right? Very easy. Yes, exactly. In agriculture also, I told you about this. Infrastructure is basically your building, right? So if I have my factory, I can't have chumma all my machines sitting like this. No, all my machines out in the open. There is no building, no roof, nothing. Just in one plot of land, I have 3 machines and I am going to be doing and manufacturing steel. Is that possible? Shall I just have 3 machines and have my Ganga Steel industry running? Is it possible? Can I do that? What do you think? No, no. Rain will come. After that, it will destroy my machines. No way. Nothing will happen. So basically, if you think about it, the buildings that you build, the facilities that you build to enable all these processes is what we call as your infrastructure. Okay. Ma'am, can technology also be an input? Yes, it can be an input. Technology can be an input. But it depends based on the industry. Okay. That's also there. Yeah, you can call it Lycosaurus also, no problem. So quick question everybody. Which factor affecting the industrial location is missing below? So here we have a lot of things on screen, but what is missing? Growth, villages, market, or none of the above? Everybody quickly tell me the answer to this. What is the correct answer? What is the correct answer here? Never. What is never? There's no never as an option. Yes, very good everybody, very good. The correct answer here is option C, market. You can have the labor, you can have the capital, you can have climate, you can have transport, but if you don't have the market to sell your product, there is no point, right? So with this, if you see, we have covered 2 very important topics. Now here's a quick reminder on registering for Parent Club. Now I know a lot of you are not able to register, and I told you that if you can't register, you let me know in the comments, but some of you did not do that. So nonetheless, everybody, please make sure that you let me know in the comments if you are not able to register. And of course, in this particular Parent Club, Cheta ma'am is going to be talking about a very, very important thing on why goal setting is important and how you and your parents together can come and learn about how to goal set, right? And how to achieve this. Yes, so this is on 21st of December at 6 p.m. So do not forget to register. Link is there in the description box. Alright. So now we are going to go ahead and learn about industrial regions, right? And we'll understand more on it. Now, what do I mean by an industrial region? You tell me first. What do we mean by an industrial region? What do you understand by it? What is an industrial region? You think quite literally only you will get the answer to this. Think about it very literally. Ma'am, where do we have to register? Link is there in the description box. Bacha, you can register there. Regions near industry. Okay. Sure. Okay. What else? Place where so many industries are set up and there will be good means of transport. Various industries of the world are developed. Okay. Very good. Regions where industries like near a river, right? Okay. So that means water will be available. Yes, a lot of you have got the gist of it, right? So an industrial region is basically a region where industries emerge, like how all of you have told me. And they are located close to each other so that they can share the benefits. So here we are not talking about one area where you will find some condition and one industry comes. But rather, if you see, it will be a place, okay, wherein we see that there are many industries that are set up, right? And thereby, if you see, they will, provide employment opportunities, they will provide revenue, right? So we see that it forms an industrial complex. Yes, you can say. That's a very fancy word of say. Yeah. But normally what they use is they call it as clusters or they call it as belts, right? That is the terminology that they use, clusters and belts, right? Mainly your examples are Mumbai Pune cluster and Bengaluru Tamil Nadu belt, okay? So there are certain areas wherein we find it. Yes, kind of like chains. So if you look at it in the world only, you would find all these different parts, right? So we see that there is an American manufacturing belt that is there. Here again in Mumbai, we have the Mumbai-Pune cluster. Again, like we find it in so many different places in Brisbane, and of course, especially in Japan, you find quite a bit of it, right? Gurgaon, Delhi, Meerut. Yes, very good, very good. So in India, these are the ones that you need to know about, okay? And see, learn about their names mainly so that you know what it means, right? We call it as an industrial cluster more than complex. Bengaluru spelling was wrong. Oh yeah, it's Bangalore here. No, it is Bengaluru. Right, so here it is, Bengaluru, Tamil Nadu belt. See, we mainly call it as belts or clusters, okay? Ahmedabad, Vadodara, then you have Chota Nagpur, Visakhapatnam, Guntur, Gurugram, Delhi, Meerut, Kollam, Thiruvananthapuram, all of these places are there. So just learn about it and see. Have in the map also just have a look of where what is there, okay? That is what you need to know, right? So this is what we mean by industrial regions, industrial clusters that are there. Now moving on to distribution of industries. So here now we are going to explore more on the textile industries that are there and the iron and steel industries. So when we talk about the iron and steel industry, right, we know that this industry forms the backbone of all the other industries. So can you tell me why we say that the iron and steel industry forms the backbone of other industries? Can you tell me why we say that? This is a very easy question. Why are we saying that this particular industry, that is the iron and steel industry, is forming the backbone? Can you tell me? Very good. We also have the information technology industry. Yes. Ma'am, iron is raw material for various other. Okay. We use steel in many ways. Yes. Iron is used for making machines. Yes. So, if you think about a lot of many machines that are built, they are made out of iron, right? And we also know that it acts as raw material for various other industries and also helps in the development of various small scale industries. Yes, most materials that we use are made of iron, right? That's one of the reasons why we say it is a backbone for other industry. So you think about it. I have a cotton producing industry and I want to have a handloom, right? Or let's say that I want to have maybe a conveyor belt which is built. Now we see that the basics, some parts of the conveyor belt are going to be made out of iron, right? Maybe iron, maybe like, you know, those belts will have some iron components to it. So I'm just giving you a basic example, which is why we say that it is the backbone, right? Yes, exactly. They have various inputs, processes and outputs. Very good, very good. So let's see how an iron or steel industry works, right? So we know that there is some raw material, there is some fuel source or energy source. We require some amount of water, right? And at the end of the day, we know that some transport facility is needed, huge capital that is required. Of course, some cheap skilled labor or unskilled labor will do. And of course, there's anyway a large market, right? So with this, if you see, we know that yes, it requires a very good transport system. And of course, mainly we see that normally it is located, these industries are located closer to seaports so that easily they can be transported, right? So we see here that an ingredients or what we would require to make steel, we see that we require 8 tons of coal. Think about it. For making 1 ton of steel, I need 8 tons of coal as fuel. Okay. So I need 8 tons of coal, 8 tons of coal as fuel. And again we see here that I require 4 tons of iron and I need 1 ton of limestone. I put all this together in a blast furnace and I will get 1 ton of steel, right? What is capital? Capital is nothing but money. So I put all of this in a blast furnace, okay? That means that it's a furnace is nothing but a place where you can heat it, right? And it is getting heated at high temperatures, right? And at the end of it, we see that it undergoes a process known as smelting, where we see that they'll come together and they will form steel, okay? And this process is what we call as smelting. And we know that the main reason of doing this or producing steel is simply because steel is very tough, it can be easily shaped, right? And of course, it can easily be molded. It can be cut into wires, made into plates, right? And of course, at the end of the day, when we mix it maybe with small amounts of metals like aluminiums, it can form alloys, right? Yes. Pig iron, it's actually a type of iron, if I am not wrong. It's a type of iron that is there. Okay. Exactly. Steel is often we use it for making machinery and tools, right? So mainly we use it to make machinery or tools. So starting from small things like a safety pin that you find in your house, it is used to make big things like trains or trucks as well, right? So steel here is very important. And now when we talk about distribution of steel, we see that US, Germany, India, China, Korea, Japan, Russia are all considered to be good producers of steel. And mainly in India, we're going to be learning about Jamshedpur and how we have Pittsburgh in USA, which are considered to be some of the centers wherein there's large production of steel, right? So again, like I told you, we have 5 places. So there are more than 10 integrated steel mills and 5 important industries are located in Jamshedpur, in Bhilai, Bokaro, Durgapur and Visakhapatnam. Yes? All right. So now we will move on to understanding about Jamshedpur and why Jamshedpur is considered to be an important producer of steel, right? What makes it so good? Now this question can come for you, okay? They'll ask you to maybe explain the geographical features of why Jamshedpur is said to be like, the Pittsburgh of India, right? So why is it there? So geographically, if you see, it is very convenient. The location of Jamshedpur is such that it makes it the iron and steel center of India, right? Earlier it was called as Sakchi, but now it's become Jamshedpur, right? Now we see that it's only 32 kilometers away from the railway line. That means it makes it easy for transport. It is closer to iron ores, coal and manganese deposits as well as to Kolkata. And along with that, we also know that there are rivers which are located close by, which provide sufficient amount of water, right? Yes, exactly. We get easy supply of raw materials here. Now, provided with that, we also see that it is closer to coal fields, right? So, we also see that it is closer to coal fields from Jharia among many, right? And we also know that limestone and all the other raw materials are easily produced. Yes, very good. Tisco was the first iron and steel industry that was there. So you need to understand what are the geographical reasons, okay? They'll ask you why does it make it geographically convenient? Then you need to write these points. They are very important. Similarly, if we look at Pittsburgh, right, we see that Pittsburgh is an important steel city of US. And we see that raw materials like coal are easily available in Pittsburgh, but iron ore and other materials come from Minnesota, which is about 1,500 kilometers. Now, between these mines located in Minnesota and Pittsburgh, we see that there is easy transport, right? Now, even though there is 1,500 kilometers distance between the two, it can be easily transported through the ports that are there, especially through the Great Lakes, right? So when we talk about Great Lakes, there are many lakes that are there. And of course, we also see that trains are there which help in transportation. And of course, we see that there are various factories, right? Shipping of ore is it's available cheaply. So in this case, what do you need to know? When you are writing about the geographical conditions, think about the factors that we studied about while learning the industry, right? Of setting up an industry. So if you know those factors, right? Writing this is become very simple and easy. Yes? Are we clear with this, everybody? Are we clear? Now I'm pacing it up a little because I also understand that you have a class later on in the channel, right? So that's why I'm increasing my pace a little so that you have an understanding, okay? And of course, I want to wind this up by 6 p.m. That's also one of the reasons why I'm going a little fast. So please don't take it, like, don't think that I am not reading your comments or anything. We'll study first, and then if you have doubts towards the end, we will do it, okay? Very good, very good. So here's a quick question for everyone. Ruhr Valley is one of the major world centers of iron and steel. Where is it located? Is it located in US, France, South Korea or Germany? Yes, everyone, very quickly. Where is it located? Actually, I remember teaching this for your seniors. When I was teaching 9th grade, I remember talking about Ruhr Valley, right? And after this, if you see, Ruhr Valley was given away after World War I, when this country lost World War I. Yes, very good, very good. Yes, the correct answer here is Germany. Yes, bacha, I will give you mind map. Don't worry about it. Mind maps and everything we will do soon, okay? So don't worry. Yes. So now we are going to move into textile industry. Now textile industry is very simple, right? Because when you talk about textile industry, you relate it to how you have learnt about fiber to fabric. All of you remember this chapter? Starting from 6th grade till 8th grade, you are learning about fiber to fabric. How many of you remember this chapter? Yes? Very simple and easy, no? Fabric means clothes. So fiber to fabric, when you learn about it, it's very easy. And yes, think about it basically, like keep this idea in your mind, textile industry becomes simple, right? So we know that weaving of cloth from a yarn or taking the threads and making it into a piece of cloth, is an ancient art, right? It's not something that we have just started recently. So we use cotton, wool, silk, and sometimes even jute to make cloth. Now broadly, if you see, based on the raw materials that we use, we can categorize the textile industry. So into cotton industry, silk industry, and so on, right? Wool industry based on what raw material I am using. Now we also know that the fibers that I am using, they could either be natural or they could be man-made, right? And we've learned about this natural fibers and man-made channels, right? So in this case, when you talk about natural fibers, we know that there is wool, silk, cotton, and linen. They are all natural. That means we get it from living organisms. Then we have man-made, which includes nylon, polyester, acrylic, and rayon, right? So this right here is very, very important. Okay, so now when we go on to cotton industry, right? How does the cotton industry work? So we see that first and foremost we require our raw materials, which is raw cotton, and from this raw cotton we know that there are certain chemicals which are used for dyeing. We require some power resources, that means I require some energy to do my processes, right? Then of course cheap skilled labor or even semi-skilled will do. If it is unskilled, it's still okay, right? Then transport system at the end of the day to make sure that I transport my end product, and a large market. Cotton clothes that are there are required by many people. So there is a large market for this, and of course a favorable climate. Because at the end of the day, when I say favorable climate, right, I require a warm and moist climate so that my cotton can survive, right? So this again is very important. So when you're doing cotton industry and textile industry, have a flow chart for this, okay? Are we clear or have we gotten distracted? Everybody, are we clear or have we gotten distracted? Yes. Okay. Hello, Sagar. Hello. Yes. All right. Very good. So now, of course, when we talk about the distribution of textile industry, it's again across the country, right? We see in US, Brazil, Egypt, Pakistan, India, China, right? And of course, we know that in the case of cotton industries, it is set up in Ahmedabad, Jaipur, Jodhpur, Kolkata, and Coimbatore. Now here, two places, just like how we discussed about Jamshedpur and Pittsburgh, you need to remember about Ahmedabad and Osaka, which is found in Japan, and how it is ideal for growth of cotton, right? Yes, and India's first modern cotton mill was set up in the year 1854. Yes, it was set up in Mumbai. Very good, very good. Now moving on to learning about Ahmedabad, right? So we know that Ahmedabad became the second largest textile city of India after Mumbai. Simply because the first one was set up in Mumbai, right? And often we call Ahmedabad as the Manchester of India. Now again, why is Ahmedabad called as the Manchester of India, or why is it the second largest textile production? Again, geographical reasons. Starting with number one, it is situated very close to cotton growing area, which means raw material is easily available. Climate is ideal for spinning and weaving of cotton. Flat terrain and easy availability makes it easy for setting up a cotton industry, right? And of course, there's dense population in Gujarat and Maharashtra, which means more employment, right? And again, we have well-developed roads and railway networks, which makes transport very easy, right? So these are some favorable reasons as to why we call this. But of course, over time, we also see that Mumbai port, we have ports which are close by, closely located, which facilitates import of machinery. That means I'm able to transport my machines to Ahmedabad easily. But of course, of late, we know that textile mills have been facing some problems in Ahmedabad, because of course they've been using some outdated technology or some old machines in the mills, and of course there have been better machines that gives us better results, which is why it is important that you know these reasons. Okay. Now, when we talk about Osaka, we also call Osaka as the Manchester of Japan. And again, same geographical reasons, right? Land is easily available for cotton mills. Warm and humid climate is present. River is present, again, which provides good water source. Labor is easily available. Very simple and easy, right? So in this case, whenever you are writing, think about the geographical reasons along the lines of the factors that we have already discussed. Make a table, write it down and study. This makes it easy, right? Now, of course, quickly moving on to information technology, which is the last part of your chapter. So when we talk about information technology, it deals with the storage, processing and distribution of information, right? As the name suggests. And of course, this industry today has become global. It connects different parts of the world, right? And this is of course due to series of technological and socio-economic events, yes? And the main factors that guiding the location of these industries. So where does an information technology industry get set up? It depends upon where you get good resources who know about this. The money that goes into it and infrastructure. And IT industries are mainly set up in Silicon Valley of India, that is Bengaluru, and in California, right? And of course, between Bangalore and California, if you compare, we see that these things, right? Resources, what kind of resources are available, if the infrastructure supports it, right? And what kind of cost goes into this. All of this is available. And we also see that there are various other information technology hubs like Mumbai, Delhi, Hyderabad and Chennai, and even Gurgaon, Pune, Kochi are all there in the IT industry. But Bengaluru, as we know, has of course the highest, it's called as the Silicon Valley of India because of the highest availability of talent that goes into this particular field, right? Yes. And last but not the least, we're going to talk about industrial disasters. This is a small bit. Now, we also know that industry, when you set it up, has a lot of things, right? We have a lot of machines which are there, and if they are not handled properly, it can lead to some industrial disasters. And the most popular one that we all are aware about was the Bhopal gas tragedy that happened in 1984. I'm very sorry for mispronouncing it. It's the Bhopal gas tragedy, right? And this happened on the 3rd of December in 1984, where there was a technological, right? So we know that there was an accident and leakage of MIC, that is the methyl isocyanate. And as a result, it was leaked from this pesticide factory, affecting many people, right? Many people, okay? Now, of course, as we know, there are some important things that we need to consider while setting up our industry. That is making sure that residential areas are separate from industrial areas. And if toxic substances are used, then awareness is created, right? So with this, everybody, we come to the end of today's class. All right. I know I rushed towards the end, but I hope now we are clear with this chapter. Are we clear? And see, of course, I do understand that you have another class waiting for you with Khushbu ma'am and Kriti ma'am. So are we clear, everybody? Yes. And I'll be sharing this PDF with you on Telegram, and I do understand that all of you require a mind map for the geography chapters. So we'll be doing that soon. But first, what we're going to do is we'll have more practice with respect to questions. We'll be learning concepts. And as you know, right, Ankita ma'am and I are here trying our very best to help you out with SST. And you guys have been such amazing students, so this definitely helps out. So everyone, here's a quick reminder for all of you on Byju's spoken English classes, right? So this, of course, as you know, is a confident spoken English speaking program that is there for 2 months, and it's available from 4 to 9. Yes. So as we know, it's a space where you will be able to improve your confidence, and there are Cambridge certified teachers who are going to help you out. Yes. So do not forget to try this out. Okay. Yes. How sweet, Harsimran. How sweet. So everybody, here's a quick homework question. So to be honest, I did not come prepared with a homework question, but here I have a homework question for all of you. Describe the different types of industries based on ownership. I know this is the part which is confusing, but you will have 4 marks for this, okay? So this right here is your homework question. Do let me know in the comment section below, right? So let me know in the comment section below and I will be correcting your answers as usual. And I'm glad that you enjoyed today's class, right? Because this is a very easy chapter and trust me, if you make mind maps, studying becomes very easy, right? And as you know, Byju's 6 to 8 has always got you covered. So do not forget to like this video. I hope all of you have liked this video. You have shared this with your friends and you have not forgotten to subscribe. Yes? I will see you all very soon again. Up until then, lots of love to all of you and take care and bye-bye.